I can't. We haven't even gotten into the episode.
Yeah, I know. There's no hope. It's fine.
You know, at least everyone knows what they're getting into.
Exactly. They should know this by now.
Hey there, welcome to the Winx Forever podcast. I'm Lola, creator, host, and lifelong Winx fan. I'm taking a deep dive into Hallowinx this year with my friend Thomas Vaccaro, aka Unicorn of War. So whether you've been a Winx fan since 2004, like myself, or you vaguely remember it from your childhood, or even if you're being introduced to it for the first time, welcome. This is the Winx Forever podcast. Hello, fairy friends. Welcome back to part 2 of the Hallowinx Special edition of the Winx Forever podcast. I am your host, Lola Valentine. There was so much to cover in this rewatch episode of the Winx Forever podcast. So if we missed anything, please let us know in the comments and on social media. But also be sure to check out the bonus content on my YouTube channel. And with that, please enjoy this deep dive episode with Thomas Vaccaro, aka Unicorn of War. Hello, fairy friends. Welcome back to part 2 of our special Hallowinx edition of the Winx Forever podcast with our good friend of the show, Thomas Vaccaro, aka Unicorn of War. Thomas, welcome back again to the show.
Hello.
Are you ready to dive into season 2, episode 16?
Oh, I was bored, ready for all this creepy chaos. I'm ready.
Oh, incredible. So, I want to ask, do you remember the first time that you ever watched this episode?
Let's see. I don't remember the first time because I know I started watching the show like when season 3 was coming out. So
Right.
I'm thinking like if they ever did reruns, I remember they had those magic moments things like after they brought Techna back from the Omega Dimension where they would show off older episodes of seasons 1 and 2. So I'm thinking maybe it was one of them. If not, I definitely would have seen it online. I think it was definitely the 4Kids version I saw first.
Definitely same for me. Like 4Kids dub was my first. So fun fact. When this episode aired in America, the 4Kids dub, for some reason, the numbering of the episodes got mixed up, and this episode actually aired after the episode Heart of Cloud Tower, which I think is episode 18. But they fixed it once the season 2 DVD of the 4Kids dub came out. But that's so interesting that like it wasn't even like it was around Halloween time either that like they were like, oh, this makes sense. Like we'll just do all the Cloud Tower episodes and then Hallowinx. Like, yeah, that totally makes sense because it's Halloween. No, it wasn't even that. Like that at least would have made sense of like, oh, cool. Yeah, let's put all the like witch centric episodes together. No, it was just a mix up. It was like in February that these aired. Yeah.
Oh, because that was my first thought. It was like, did they rearrange this purposely? No.
Right.
No, it's like, okay, Halloween in February.
You're right. Yeah, because normally, and this is how I defend 4Kids. Normally, they have a reason for the things that they do. You know, like they were professionals working on the show. It's not like they just willy-nilly decided to. Exactly. Yes. Yes. So it's
same
just
brain cell.
So it just wasn't just by chance that they, you know, like orchestrated it in the way that they did. But in this one specific niche instance, it was a mess up.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if it's because it was in February, because I don't know the exact timeline, and I'm like, was this just not ready by October? So they just waited?
Right. Maybe because the 4Kids dub, this episode is heavily edited compared to the original and the Cinelume dub. So I wonder if that is why, if it wasn't ready by then. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Another thing too that I've heard is that either season 2 or season 3 or maybe both, 4Kids was given a like not a rough draft, but like the first version of the animation of these. And so sometimes you might see some wonky stuff in the original 4Kids dub of season 2. And that's why it wasn't like a like polished, like finished version that Rainbow sent them. And so maybe that's also like a
Huh.
component of like why, yeah. So like there's some wonky things that happen in localization of dubs. So
That makes a lot of
that's
sense. I'm remembering
yeah.
one specific frame where they're walking down the street in Gardinia and Lockhead is floating and she has a little blue aura around her. And all of
Mm-hmm.
a sudden the aura like tracks down like and doesn't match her body anymore. And I'm like, what the heck? And now I know why.
Yeah, yeah. And so that's really interesting. And it also happened in other countries too. It wasn't just like an American thing. Like they just got, I think, a rough draft of it. So some dubs also have some like really wonky things in it. Like I think like the Chinese dub, when they go to Gardinia the first time in season 2, Layla is wearing not the outfit that she
Oh
like is known to be
yeah.
wearing. Yeah, yeah,
I saw
in that.
that. And it was just like so weird because it's only for like one interaction with like the cop and I'm just like, what
Right.
the heck is happening?
Yeah. So it's just really interesting that you know, the things that go into dubbing that like you don't really like think of or like even like know. So, yeah. So let's get into this episode deep dive, starting with the title and synopsis of the episode. So
Yes.
the Ray English and as well as the Italian version are both titled Hallowinx, while the 4Kids version is titled The Fourth Witch. Thomas, would you like to give us the synopsis of this episode?
Why, yes, I would. The Winx girls take a break to celebrate Halloween in Gardinia because protecting the Codex, who is she? We
Who
don't
is
know her.
she?
They are invited to a party by Bloom's old nemesis, Mitsy, because apparently Bloom is just very, very trusting when she shouldn't be.
Right. Little cinnamon roll
However,
Bloom. Back when she was
she's
innocent.
exactly back when it was actually like intentional and kind of a flaw before she became perfect. Anyway, Jolly, the pixie of fortunes and card reading, she predicts great danger for the whole crew. But does anyone listen to her? No,
Because
because
she's a dumb little pixie.
oh dang, okay, I was just gonna say because it's Halloween and in the spirit of horror
Oh,
movies, we're gonna make terrible decisions for your entertainment. But that too.
that's fair. That too. That too.
So Mitzi, she's planning a very nasty prank on the Winx, of course. But
Mhm.
however, it is the quick-witted pixies who will be the
Mhm.
life of the party, proving everyone wrong
That they're
about
not
pix.
just dumb little pixies.
Exactly, they're actually like the smartest pixies around, at least until later seasons. Then they
this
actually are the
was
dumbest ones around.
this was the precursor to Big Little Shots in season 3.
Exactly,
That's
exactly.
when this is when like we get a taste of like the Pixies' true power, and then Big Little Shots is when, and I don't know if that's the same title in Cinelume dub. So all of the Cinelume fans are probably like, "What is she talking about?"
Yeah, it's I think it's called the Pixies shard. It's when the Pixies fight the tricks.
Yep, yep, yep.
That's all
That
you need
one.
to know.
Big digit.
Yeah, big digit.
Big digit. It's funny. So it's so funny that you said like the Codex Who, because like it is wild that now thinking about it, that this airing out of sequence after Heart of Cloud Tower, when the tricks literally get the Codex from Cloud Tower, and
It
then
don't
you're
feel
like,
right.
we're gonna do a Halloween episode.
Yeah, I'm like, we just suffered a debilitating defeat. We all hate each other now because like they really hate each other in the Cloud Tower
Yeah,
episodes. And now we're
yeah.
gonna go have fun in Gardenia. What?
I can only imagine what little Lola was thinking, like absolute whiplash.
Like this ain't right. Like that's
In
something
February.
in February of all times. Like ultimate whiplash. I don't know. I like season 2 has more like episodes that aren't chained to the plot, but I feel like they
Mm-hmm.
were very intentional on having that little string of episodes between
Yeah,
Red
I was.
Fountain's Codex and Cloud
Mm-hmm.
Tower's Codex.
Yeah, it
Because
was like,
once
let's lighten the mood.
exactly, because like once they go to Cloud Tower, it's the beginning of the end.
So yeah, that one string of like there is like consecutively like 4 or 5 like slice of life episodes that like we get, and I cherish them. They're so good.
Honestly, they're some of the best episodes of the whole series.
All right, here we go. Getting into the episode. Begin. Scene by scene, starting with we open to a beautiful wide pan shot of Alfea as the Winx are presenting a report on the magical dimension, while Flora is giving her part of the report on an ancient tree she had interviewed in Magix. Okay, Flora, pop off. Bloom is whispering to Aisha that they had been invited to a Halloween party, which is being held that night in Gardinia. Aisha had never heard of Halloween, but like, why would she? So Bloom gives a little like brief explanation of it, to which like it was wild. Like Aisha dropped her book when she told her, like she was so like in awe. It was very she was shooketh to the core, and like you hear the little thud of her book in the Cinelume dub, which I find so comical. I think that's so funny.
Oh yeah, because in Cinelume you hear everything. You hear the footsteps. You hear
because like, there's no music. There's no like background music.
I have comments on the score later, but it's fine. But the point is, Aisha's like, wait, you worship pumpkins?
So then as they're all like taking turns like telling their side of their report, Aisha starts with Stella, and like they go down the line like telling kind of like this like version of telephone, like telling each one that there's this party happening that they're invited to. And so, and it, like all the way down until it reaches Tekna, who's on the exact opposite end of where Bloom is, and
because she's least important.
You said it. Rainbow meant it that way too.
It started early.
But once the news reaches Tekna, she's so excited that she like blurts out loud in front of class what she thought she heard. Like it's literally like that game of telephone of like you say something that you think that you hear, and then like you pass it on to the next person,
and you see how much it changes by the end.
It changes so much by the end. And for like disrupting kind of like their presentation, Palladium issues a 100-page report due by the next morning, on his desk the next morning, to Tekna only. Excuse me?
Like, the next day on short notice,
when she's got a Halloween party to go to. Rude. So in the 4Kids dub of the scene, the Winx Club are not giving a midterm report on the magical dimension. Instead, they're kind of like giving this proposal and explaining how they would like to do this research project on Halloween on Earth and Gardinia for their assignment.
Which makes perfect sense.
Thank you.
Such a good framing device.
It's perfect. It's literally, it's not random. It's not like, oh, by the way, we have this, like in the middle of them, like
here's
giving
a bunch of lore
report
on things you already know.
Exactly. Like, I feel like they should have learned the things that they're talking about, like in the Cinelume dub. I feel like they should have learned that like in elementary school, and like these girls are in high school talking about all this stuff that they like you said,
the capital of the universe, and it's like
yes, thank you. I learned that in 3rd grade.
I didn't know.
Palladium still tells Flora like to tell him about their proposal in her own words, and that is when Bloom tells everyone that they're invited to the party in Gardinia. And instead of Palladium reprimanding Tekna for like blurting out like a big Halloween party, instead of reprimanding her, he instead says that it's a great idea for their research assignment to go to a party with dancing and music and fun. And I thought, when I rewatched it, I always thought of like this being like an affirming, like suggestion on Palladium's part, but rewatching it now, and now that I'm older, I'm like, that was totally like a backhanded comment. He was like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great like setting for your research project.
Dang. See, I didn't catch that. I thought he was being sincere, like, yeah, go get your first-hand experience, girls. But then again, Palladium can be sassy, so maybe.
He's a very sassy elf, yes. I will give the Cinelume dub props where it is warranted. I like how in what they're talking about in the Cinelume dub for the report, that's like it all helps the world building for sure. Like, and it's
Mm-hmm.
all talking about things that are like yet to happen in season 2 even. Like Stella's talking about the wildlands, which is where they later in the season go off on vacation with the specialist, and she's talking about how like the specialists are there to keep balance between like, you know, like magic because they don't really use magic a lot. And like it's like the things that the girls are talking about is really fascinating. I just wish they weren't talking about other shit while they're talking about this, because that is the
Yeah.
stuff, that is the world building that we need
Yeah,
in
it's
the
like
Cinelume dub.
it's so strange. They're talking about things you already know, and then there's a
Uh-huh.
glimmer of like foreshadowing, but it's
Mm-hmm.
buried under them talking about Halloween. And
Like
I'm
I
like,
had to listen so hard to get any of that context even.
literally, it's like Four Kids just presents it in a very like
Mhm.
understandable, easy to digest manner. And then with Cinelume, you have to scavenge for it.
Literally. But even in the 4 Kids dub, like the things that they're talking about is so eloquently like written and put, like the like how they're proposing like this project to Palladium. Like they're talking about like even like the reason they want to do this whole project on Halloween is because even though Earth like is closed off to the magical dimension, they celebrate magic with Halloween. And it's so cool how they frame it and how they propose it to Palladium. I'm like, this is so good.
Oh, it's everything. It's oh
Ah.
god, it's really an appreciation for Earth and how like
Mhm.
weird it is, despite the fact they're
Mhm.
non-magical. If you want to like be Giga Brain about it, maybe it's season 4 foreshadowing. Who knows?
Ooh. Yes.
I oh god, that just unlocked a thought I have about the cat when we get there later. But anyway,
Yeah, so that happens, and then the next scene we see this card flying through Alfea, and once it reaches its destination, it transforms into Jolly, the pixie of fortune telling. She, we learn, is the sister to the pixie of messages, Livy. And Livy tells Jolly about the Halloween party that night and is very excited to be going with the Winx. And Livy invites Jolly to go along, and Jolly is like, you know, happy, but then she kind of like takes a step and she's like,
kills the mood.
you're, she kind of like, yeah, kind of a little bit of a mood killer. She tells her sister that there's a black shadow over her. Olivia seems like pretty like used
Over
to
it.
this, like growing up with this. She's kind of like rolls her eyes. She's
You've
like,
been
come
telling me I'm
on,
gonna die in 7 days for like since the day I came out of the tree of life. Come on.
this is the day, Libby.
It's
But
been the
this is
day
the
for 7 years, Jolly.
time. But Jolly like refuses to go anywhere until she's able to like do Livy's reading through tarot cards. And I love Jolly's theatrics here.
Oh, big
It
mood.
like it's a big mood. Like it's a dark screen. There's only one spotlight on Jolly, and like she has these magical cards that come flying, and it's so cute. I love it. In this reading, Jolly summons 3 cards. One of them is a caravan, one of them is the frightened fawn, and one of them is 3 faceless sisters. Jolly tells them that they should not go to the party and that there will be a cruel trick awaiting them. And it's very ominous. You know, clearly we have no idea yet in this episode what is about to unfold, but like the fact that this is the second scene of the whole episode,
Yeah, what a
it
way to
sets
set
the
the mood.
mood. Yes.
Like oh, same wavelength. Like it's so spooky.
We're
I I love the thing I just love about media from this era is that it
Mhm.
like it doesn't feel the need to like harsh its own vibe. It takes itself so
Mhm.
seriously. Like
Yes.
they're just like, yes, this pixie is telling a deep, dark fortune in
Mhm.
an ominous void. We're not gonna have a self-aware joke about it. We're just gonna make you take it seriously too.
Yep. Yep. I love it. It's great. It's so camp in like the best way too. Like with all early 2000s Halloween media, like this fits right in like almost seamlessly. Like it's really good for it being a Italian show, which is very interesting to me
They got the vibe
because
down perfect.
They did, and it's so interesting because from what I understand, and Italians, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand, the commercialization of Halloween is very much an American thing, like everything in corporate America is.
Oh yeah, girl, it's America. Like, come on.
Right. Yeah. But like it's crazy to me because it is such an Americanized thing, this over commercialization of holidays and especially Halloween, that an Italian show like this got it so right. Like in 2004. Like nowadays, like the commercialization of like Halloween is more like widespread to other countries now, like for sure. But like 20 years ago, like it wasn't like as widely spread. So it's so interesting to me that this was a choice made by Rainbow in 2004, 2005.
I wonder if part of the reason is because, like, at this point, like when they were producing season 2, I don't know the exact timeline, but I'm wondering if Winx was like coming out in America at that point through the 4Kids dub. Maybe they just knew that they were going to have, or that they already had such a big American audience.
Yeah.
And or maybe they were just hoping to ensnare one. And so they were like, I'll just do a Halloween episode. Those American girlies will love that.
Yes, though. And it's so funny because now, like looking back, like everyone, no matter like where you live, love it. And it's just like, I wonder what it says about like American media and like just like our knack for, like you said, like branding, marketing, everything, you know, like I wonder what that says about American media than anything else, really. And like other countries catching on to that too. Like it's so wild to think about.
It is. It is. I start thinking about it and I just immediately get depressed, but that's for another time.
That's a different episode.
Exactly.
You're listening to the Winx Forever podcast. So back to the episode, Stella transports half of the Winx not half of all of the Winx, but Bloom, all to Gardinia with her scepter, and she's like transformed too. Like she had to go like all the way and like transform to like transport all of them. But okay.
Yeah,
and
go
then
off, Queen.
Yeah, go off. All right. No one else is transformed, but you do you, girl.
With her like Stella signature magic Winx variant. Like, you know, the rise, the Italian lady yelling "Rising Sun."
Oh yes, absolutely. But yeah. So Stella transports the Winx, except for Bloom. Bloom like thanks Jolly for her prophecy. But she feels like there's nothing to worry about, and she's like, the 3 faceless like girls could be the tricks. But then again, why would they ever go to Gardinia?
And I'm like, girl. Girl, have you blacked out that episode because of the trauma that it brought you? Because that's the only explanation I have.
That is in a deep, dark place. Like, she's, like, repressed that from her memory. Like, they threw your parents down a vortex.
A vortex toilet. Exactly. And then they did electric booty kick on you. Into a bookshelf.
They said, oh, but why would they ever go to Gardinia? I can think of a few reasons. One, to like completely jack you up.
Two, we'll witch her out before the day is done.
Do we not remember last term at all, Bloom? Like, you think that was just like a dream? Like, what are we doing? Oh my god. So yeah, that was a very when that when that line was like uttered, I just lost my shit. I was like, really Cinelume.
Every Winx fan just face palms. You know what it's giving? It's giving season 5 and 6 energy where they're just so unaware of their own lore. And I'm like, oh no, it's here.
It was happening earlier than we thought.
The red flags were all there.
I want and I know exactly who's gonna make a meme of this once they hear it. It's someone in my Discord. I want that clip of like Bloom saying, but then again, why would they ever go to Gardinia? And there's that TikTok sound like you know, like the freeze frame.
Oh my god.
In the 4Kids dub, Bloom just like thanks Jolly for her prophecy, but says that they're still going to go to Earth. And if they want to come, just follow Bloom as she recites this teleportation spell, transport us back homus, which we can assume she learned from Stella since Stella used it in season 1, episode 2 to help transport Mike and Vanessa back to Earth. And then after Bloom like recites this, the pixies say, follow us, like it's a little tag along spell to Bloom's. And I freaking love it. It's so cute.
I feel like 4Kids really like there's something about the way that they did like the basic level magic when they're not transformed. Like even like giving them classical like Latin sounding names by adding those suffixes. It adds so much charm, and the fact that transport us back homus is a recurring thing, that got it stuck in my head for years.
Yes.
It's so basic, but I love it. So the Winx arrive in Gardinia, and they and the Pixies are, walking the streets. They're taking in all the sights of Halloween, all of the obscure, like, references to the costumes. Can we talk about, like,
absolutely we can.
The Easter eggs going out? Like, there's a Darth Vader roaming the streets. That I'm so alarmed with, like, the number of these, and I'm like, how I appreciate this, but I'm also like, how did y'all not get sued into the next dimension?
see, 4Kids was thinking about that.
Okay,
which is why they edited out the Batman ears of the Batman characters.
I was thinking that. I was like, huh. And like, is that why they did that to not get sued? Is that why Nickelodeon like relied on the specials and they didn't want to air this season?
Ooh.
Is that why Zing barely exists?
Dude, yeah, why did Zing not come on this trip?
Oh my god, it would have been perfect for her.
It would have been so great. Yeah.
What the anyhow, Bloom explains that Halloween is kind of an international thing, but they're going to a private party where everyone's going to be wearing a costume. They have not done their shopping, so they're just going to rely on their fairy privilege.
Yeah.
So once they reach a crosswalk, Flora asks if Bloom's friend, the one who's throwing the party, knows that she brought her little entourage. And Bloom says that Mitsy, she's not exactly a friend, more like an annoying school bully and nemesis that she trusts for some reason. She said they were welcome to come along, which, red flag upon red flag. And then suddenly, speak of the devil, a car comes along, honks at them. And the person in the car is none other than Mitsy and her little minion friends.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. So Bloom, she introduces her friends, the Winx, and Mitsy is very, very quite rude. She's like, the party's at 8, don't look scruffy. And then she just tells her chauffeur to like speed off and let the Winx like breathe in the fumes of the car just to let them know
like why is that
them.
Car emitting so much like fumes? That's you need to get that scene about.
So the girls, they clock that Mitsy is quite rude and mean, and Tecna, she calls her top tacky, which it just is. Like, but Bloom is like, let's try to be nice to Mitsy. Let's try and trust her. I don't know why she's saying that, but okay, girl, go off.
Just
the Delulu land of Bloom. Like the tricks won't come to Gardinia. Mitsy's nice. And she says we're gonna go to this party and we're not gonna pay Mitsy any mind, even though she's hosting the party. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? Famous
everything.
Words. Quite literally all of the things. I do love though that in the Cinelume dub that Tecna is the one that points out that Mitsy's top is tacky. Like, look at Stella rubbing up on our brainy queen. Like, we love that.
Tecna is a fashion expert now. Pretty soon she'll be making jokes and puns. Good for her.
Good for Tecna. And honestly, good for Stella, because that also means that, like, we even saw in like season 1 that even though they'd been together for like a term, at school, like they were already beginning to rub off on each other. Now that we're like well into season 2, like it's just like happening even more so. And I love that in early Winx Club.
Amen. When they actually felt like friends with each other.
Wow, what a concept.
Imagine.
I also like that the Poor Kids version had Tekna say here, which was a little bit of a little foreshadowing that Mitzi's attitude stinks more than her perfume, which is
Ooh.
another like even it's a different version of what she said in the Cinelume dub, but like still tracks with like Stella rubbing off on her.
Yeah, it keeps the spirit of it, but
Mm-hmm.
also it like you said, it's foreshadowing because it serves a useful
Mm-hmm.
plot function later. Look at Four Kids, like making this more cohesive.
Yes. Hey fairy friends, Lola Valentine here. In case you missed it, this year, the Winx Forever podcast launched our very own Discord community. Discord has been a great place to connect with so many wonderful Winxers from around the world to talk about our favorite fairies. I wanted to try and recreate the magic of the original Winx Club online English forums from the old WinxClub.com website. So we've got forums where you can post your own topics and respond to others' posts in every Winx topic imaginable. Click the invite link in the description below to join the Winx Forever Podcast Discord community. And remember, the magic's in you. So the girls arrive at the mansion where Mitsy is hosting her party, and it is called, coincidentally, the Silent Villa. And while the pixies are preoccupied by like the artificial sounds that like these little pumpkins are making that are like decorations around the mansion, they see this like very tall and eerie looking woman who is like speaking something like to herself, and then she like walks away and it like disappears into the fog that is surrounding them. And the pixies just are like, okay, that's totally normal.
Yeah, that's not normal for Earth.
No need to alert anyone about this.
No, freaky, tall, demonic-looking women in the forest. That sounds about right for Earth.
That sounds fine for Earth. Like, I think that they forgot they were on Earth where things like that just don't happen.
Was that directed at the Pixies specifically? Because, like, I'm trying to think, like, isn't that a plot hole, though, because of what happens later?
Could be. We'll see.
I'm so confused.
So confused. Tekna comments on the house being just like a video game she refers to as Resident Evil Doom 2, which is one of our, I mean, excluding the first costumes that we see in Gardinia, like downtown. One of the first Easter eggs that we get while we're in this like spooky setting at the mansion. It's a reference to two video games, Resident Evil and Doom.
We just shove them together.
Just shove them together right in there. And also the plaque on the gates outside of the house reads Silent Villa, which is another shout out to another game series, Silent Hill. So that's very fun.
So strange that Silent Hill gets its name changed, but Resident Evil and Doom don't?
Right. Like, where does that? Don't know. Okay. Don't know. And before arriving like to the mansion, the camera, quote unquote, like pans up and does show a little witch girl flying on a broom, and it has been said in the fandom like that this like is a striking resemblance to Kiki from the Studio Ghibli film Kiki's Delivery Service, which sadly enough, this reference, as well as Tekna's comment about the video game references, were replaced with talking about how Jolly's cards like said that there would be an iron gate, which seems like very illogical for Tekna to be worried about a silly tarot reading. Like that just doesn't seem like something that like Tekna would
like she'd be like, oh, those are just tall tales and like folk things. Like I don't believe that.
Right. Even though she comes from a magical world, she's very logical with her magic. Like, everything is science to her. Like, magic is just science to her. And so, like, I think that she wouldn't, like, pay much mind to, a tarot reading like that, which is, maybe that's just, like, an Earth, like, take on what, you know, how people, like, perceive tarot. And, like, maybe Tekna would fall into that, like, stereotype, but I don't know. So it's really interesting that 4Kids, yeah, it's interesting that 4Kids took out those references for sure. But they kept in the little spooky cat toy that, not toy, but the decoration that in the 4Kids dub it says welcome guests, but in the Cinelume dub it says hello Flora.
Straight up hello Flora.
Hello Flora.
So it's not a decoration, that is a demon cat.
That is a demon cat.
And that also, is I would like to point out, I don't know the name of the voice actor who did it, but it's the same actor who does WizGiz and also Dumon. So I'm like, are the fairy hunters watching them this far in advance?
Yes. The answer is yes.
I mean, they fit in. Look at their outfits.
You're right. Like, I a part of, like, I know it's not, but a part of me just exist yet. A part of me wants to believe that Rainbow had the foresight of, like, knowing where the story was going to go.
The dream.
That is my headcanon for sure now.
If you look closely, you'll just see Ogron in the background just, like, having a sip of the quote-unquote cherry soda.
Ogron was actually the witch on the broom flying with the little bow in his hair.
He's trying to live his dream.
Oh, he's doing his best. Oh, I love it. A lot of people say that the cat is a reference to Salem from Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which, I mean, it's just a black cat with, I mean, it could also be freaking Gigi from Kiki's Delivery Service, like, who knows? Which, like,
it could be any black cat,
it could be any black cat in some, like, spooky IP, exactly. By the time they reach the door, Bloom knocks and they notice that the house is kind of dilapidated. It seems to be falling apart in areas. Like, when she knocks, like coincidentally, like, a bunch of, like, dust falls from, like, the porch ceiling, which is, like, pretty creepy. Bloom opens
about to collapse.
Right. Ooh. And Techna even, like, makes the, like, comment of, like, this place doesn't seem very structurally sound.
Like, what is this, an episode of Hoarders?
Like... ooh. But Bloom opens the door and is greeted by first a, like, jack-o'-lantern that, like, falls from the ceiling as, like, a little prank. Ooh, got him good. And then the maid, like, moves that out of the way and shows them inside. Where they start to interact with some of Mitsy's guests. First of which is a guy who kind of tries to hit on Aisha, and she says that, like, he's making her feel queasy. He mentions in the Cinelume dub that he's dressed as a doctor. Do you know? Okay, I have a question. Do you know which doctor he's referring to?
I do not, actually, and I'm scared to know.
Okay, so according to Unafata, which, like, we love Unafata, in her Hallowinx Easter egg video that she made in 2020, she believes that this is a reference to the doctor from Oginkai Clinic manga, which is actually hentai. Indeed. So that was a I thought all this time I just thought it was Doctor Who because he's got the bow tie, you know?
I was like, maybe he's, like, I don't know, Dr. Jekyll or Dr. Hyde. He doesn't change personalities, but maybe he's one of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
My mind wouldn't go to hentai.
Yeah, literally same. But I mean, looking at the character that she, like, proposes in Unafata's video, and I'll link that below in the description as well so that y'all can check it out. But I swear, like, she said that and I was like, oh.
I'm like, I'm with Aisha. I also feel queasy.
Yes. And that's and Una said that, and Ola said that in her video of, like, that is, like, could be why, like, Aisha said that is because of the reference to his costume, like, was making her feel queasy. Like, ooh, you're dressed as, like, a guy from a hentai. Like, absolutely not. So I'm just gonna say that it's Doctor Who.
Fair.
For my own sanity.
Same. Any doctor but that one.
It literally any of them. Pick one. Any of them. In this scene, there's also a woman dressed as a quote unquote nurse, which is another Easter egg. Do you know who this one is supposed to be?
I do not actually.
So a lot of people think that it's supposed to be Ellie Drivers from Kill Bill because
Ooh.
it's so it's a lot of these are very adult.
Oh my
That
god.
right? So it's very it's interesting. This scene of her she's like holding a syringe. It looks like in like the first of Kill Bill when like you see the nurse like come in and anyway, the syringe in the 4Kids dub was edited out of the girl's hand in the 4Kids dub. So it's very funny because it's like in like their other like shows that they license, like editing out like Sanji's cigarette in One Piece and things like that. Like it's, like we got to do it for the kids. You got to do it. Can't have no smoking, no syringes. I don't know why I turned into Brooklyn Sanji there, but there you go. It also in the 4Kids dub, this Ellie Driver looking character mentions the rumor that Mitsy started in season 1 about Bloom going to reform school. And it's funny.
Okay.
Which like damn, like what did this girl do to you that you hate her so much? She's not even like it. Like Bloom lives rent free in Mitzi's head. Like, and it's incredible.
Mitzi's just obsessed with Bloom. She's like making
truly
fan fiction about where she went. She's like, "Why'd you move? I can't bully you anymore." Like,
like it's really it's obsessive.
Do with that information what you will, but I do kind of enjoy the fact that it's reform school specifically. There's something about it where I'm like, this is kind of a running gag that I find very funny that she thinks so lowly of Bloom, and meanwhile Bloom is like at the exact opposite of reform school.
Yes, she's a little cinnamon roll goody two shoes that literally like trusts Mitsy even after Mitsy's given her no reason to. Like, hello. Even though there was that one time that she turned Mitsy's scooter into a pig, but we're not talking about that time right now.
No, but that was still iconic.
Iconic. Oinkus Interceptus.
Oh my god, I need to use that when I'm stuck in traffic.
Oh, crying. So, shortly after they arrive, Mitsy graces her guests with her presence as she makes this grand entrance down the stairs of this like dilapidated mansion. And during her descent down the stairs, the song that is playing on the CD starts to skip, and it quote unquote ruins her entrance. So naturally, Mitsy is furious and she calls the DJ a loser and to get out of her sight, and it causes him to like break into tears and like run off. It's like, okay, cool. You just bullied your paid like DJ. Like, well, that's assuming she's paying.
Yeah, I was about to say it's Mitsy. I don't expect him to be paid at all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, girl, don't worry about your entrance being ruined. It was already ruined. Like,
it was you. You were entering the room.
It's you. Hi, you're the problem. It's you.
Oh my god. Yes. And okay, so like in this scene, like the kids, the DJ is like, oh, the CD skipping. Kids these days, do they even know what it means for a CD to skip? Do they know what that is?
They don't even know what a CD is. Period. Point blank.
Oh, tragic. So I know. Nothing will make you feel older than knowing what CD and CD stands for. In the 4Kids dub, they didn't use this CD skip, but instead, the DJ plays the wrong song. Which now, Thomas, were you into Sonic the Hedgehog video games?
I was not, but I was aware of them on fringes.
Okay, all right. Well, your girl was a Nintendo and Sega girly. So, growing up with the Sonic naturally, they came on the same, the same station. I had to be a Sonic girly. So
I do remember all the Sonic commercials on 4Kids.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Jason Griffith as Sonic and also Lord Darkar. Come on now.
Perfection.
Perfection. So if you are into Sonic the video games, there was a song that plays when Mitzi's coming down the stairs in the 4Kids dub that is eerily similar, to me at least, to the music that plays in the Pumpkin Hill level that you play as Knuckles and Sonic Adventures 2 Battle. This is a very, very niche reference for a very, very specific type of person, and I understand that. But I just needed someone else to connect with that.
I mean,
it just lives rent free in my head, just like Mitsy doesn't, or just like Bloom does in Mitzi's head.
Knowing 4Kids, I wouldn't be surprised, especially if they had like their hands on Sonic's license too. And also the fact that the level is Pumpkin Hill, like, come on.
And that's what got me. I was like, damn, this is like worlds colliding. Like, this is so like meta in like the best way.
Winx Sonic crossover when? Oh god, that would be so cursed. I would live for it.
There are people that would love that.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it already exists in some form.
Oh, totally. I mean, there's Prisma Galaxy 514. Prisma's whole fan fiction is a Johnny Test Winx crossover, which, like, if you're talking like some niche Winx crossovers, that's a niche one.
The Johnny Test lesson like unlocked memories.
Right? Like, it in the wild part is it works.
It works.
It does, and the art that they create. Oh, I'll send you a link later. It's great.
Oh, please do. I need to witness this.
It's truly phenomenal. Yeah. So shout out Prisma in my Discord and Twitter and literally everywhere else.
This is why I'm grateful for fandom.
Yes, right, because we would not get media like this anywhere else or anyway else.
Companies wouldn't make it because it would never make money, but like fans do this because, you know, we just want to see the chaos.
Because the chaos and the art of it all.
Exactly.
Like, come on. Yeah, I love it. All right. So anyway, off from my tangent. So Mitsy immediately like makes a beeline for Bloom. Shows off her dress that is apparently very expensively made, and like the little sparkles like jingle or whatever. It's very funny because in the 4Kids dub, Bloom, because we all know 4Kids Bloom, she's a savage. We love her.
Oftentimes without even trying.
Oftentimes. I think this is one of them where she goes, what are you supposed to be exactly?
Literally. Like,
just like puts her in the ground. Oh, to which Mitsy replies, and I think that this is so funny. She goes, duh.
Like, it's obvious to anyone.
Yeah. She goes, duh. I can't even say it. I'm a goth supermodel from the future.
Which is like such a hyper-specific aesthetic, which on the one hand, I love this, but not on Mitsy.
Right, yeah. Love that for you, but not for you.
I love that. Period. Not for you.
Not for you.
I'm also like, girl, nothing about your look telegraphs any of these things.
It's nothing about it says goth or supermodel or from the future.
I'm frightened that this is another full circle moment. Again, this is what I've learned about titling things and making things clear for marketing purposes. Mitsy, you are a lost cause.
she just, yeah, no help in that girl. None at all.
No.
Duh. A goth.
God, supermodel for the future.
The fact that she had the gall to say, duh, like idiot. Like no.
Anyone else was on her wavelength.
Clearly not. Oh my god, it's so funny. I love the 4Kids dub so much.
They really they put in the work.
Mm-hmm. Oh man. So then of course Mitsy goes on to criticize the girls' outfits, seeing them wearing these long black bluish robes. Says that she is very disappointed. Like, she told them that, you know, this is a party and like they're supposed to look good. And with that, Stella, of course, because I love Stella's whole, like, she is so anti Mitsy. Like, Stella is everything Mitsy wishes she was, and Stella knows it.
And
Stella
also
knows.
Stella doesn't have to bring other people down to like let herself shine. So
yes, Yes. And we love that about her. Oh, and it's like, it's so perfect. Stella goes, you're gonna need to put on some sunglasses in the Cinelume dub. And of course, underneath the robes that they shed, they reveal that they are actually in their Magic Winx transformation. And of course, Mitsy is stunned. And as well as all of the other party goers, they're like now the hit of the party. Like they have the best costumes. They're definitely nicer than Mitsy. And
and the Magic
period.
Winx outfits are just like I it's so sad that
Oh,
their starter forms are some of the best designed fairy forms still to this
for
day.
real though. Like the iconic boots, like the shimmer. Oh my god, the sparkles.
They're so simple yet they work so well. If they were
It
in
works so
Enchantix,
well.
everyone would have dropped dead.
Everyone would have like died. Yeah, immediately on site. Like absolutely. Would have lost their minds. It's funny that like one of the party goers asks Flora like how, or they ask like, how did you make your wings? And Flora's like, that's a secret.
If we told you, we'd have to kill you.
Quite literally. And we have the power to.
Even though we don't have the power to use it against ghosts, we'll get there later.
Yeah. I also love that there's no transformation sequence here. Like it would have been even funnier like if they had like revealed like what they were wearing and then like immediately like transformed, like done the whole like flashy sequence. But like no, they're just like already transformed, showing up to this party like this. Like that is some boss ass bitch behavior. Like they are like they could have gone a step further, but they knew that like this was just enough. Like they didn't need to do all that. Like they know what they got.
And I also think that because this is like a one-off, more lighthearted episode, if they had the transformation sequence, that would have taken time away from the rest of the episode.
Ooh, yes,
so I feel like they were very
absolutely.
wise to have them already transformed.
I agree.
And I
it's
feel like
funny.
they also signal that they're in their fairy forms because you could see bits and pieces of it outside the cloaks, and you're like, "Ooh, I know what's coming."
Which is so funny that they had those little like glimpses of like like the little, I don't know, like letting the audience in on the secret. You know, like that's a very like cool thing to do in animation and in just good storytelling in general. You know, like I love that we're in on it too, and like we know what's about to happen.
Thank God for seasons 1 through 3.
I know, seriously. Oh my god. I also love that in the 4Kids dub, they made this seem like it was Stella's idea to go in their Magic Winx transformations, but it's never said in the Cinelume dub whose idea it was. But of course it was Stella, of course, like duh.
Obviously. She's the fashion girly. She is the visionary.
Oh, we love it. It's
again 4Kids putting in the work for the foreshadowing.
Seriously. Also in the 4Kids dub, when one of the party goer instead of asking like how they made their wings, she asked, where did you get your costumes? And Flora's like, online.
eBay.
Yeah. It's giving very much Timmy Turner's internet. Anytime he explains like anything his fairies do for him in Fairly Odd Parents.
The accuracy of that.
It's perfect.
And it works,
internet,
and people will believe it just because back then the internet was that eclectic thing where if you said that, they'd just be like, okay, seems weird enough.
Exactly. Like no follow-up questions, just like understood.
Okay. With a little hint of I don't want to know now.
You're right. Which is very meta now because Winx Club has that whole licensing deal with that Miko Taku like store that like has like their literally all of their Magic Winx costumes on Amazon right now, like to purchase. Like we legitimately could get their costumes online now. Like it's come full circle in the year 2023.
Yeah, it only took 2 decades.
Right. Yeah. Like, all right. But we made it.
We made it.
It's wild. If you're enjoying this episode of the Winx Forever podcast, be sure to follow the show on your preferred streaming platform so that you're notified when new episodes are released. All right. Do you want to tell us what happens next, Thomas?
Yes. So Mitsy she is deeply annoyed that the Winx are more fabulous than her. And so a friend of hers appears and asks if she'd like to deal with it. What does she mean by deal with it? I don't want to know.
I think she's like, do you want to like dim the lights? And it's like,
oh yeah, in 4Kids she says that. In Cinelume,
oh, in
she's
the
just
Four
like to
Kids?
deal with it. And I'm
Oh,
like, are you
damn.
implying violence?
Yikes.
I'm like, what are the gangs of Gardinia nonsense? But anyhow, Mitsy she's ready to like scare them out of their wits, and then she cackles evilly. No, she's not whispering any of this, and the Winx are still in earshot. They're right in front of her.
That happens a lot in this episode. That happens a lot.
And I'm like, how naive are y'all? Anyway, Jolly, she's performing yet another reading because she wants all the attention. And this time she's doing it for a little pumpkin.
A cute little pumpkin.
A cute pumpkin who's alive. We don't have a name for him. We'll just call him Pumpkin.
Oh, actually, I have a name for him. You know, in the 4Kids dub. Sorry, you know the 4Kids dub. Earlier in this episode, when like the two pics, when Livy and Jolly are looking at the pumpkin, and then they see the faceless girl in the background.
Yes.
In the 4Kids dub, she goes, "It looks like her pet pumpkin." And then Jolly goes, "It looks just like Little Muffin."
Oh my god, I remember that. Oh my god.
Pumpkin yes. Muffin. I love it.
Oh, Muffin. His name is Muffin.
Yeah.
Okay. So she does a reading for Muffin, and she says that doom for Muffin is very near. Which, poor Muffin.
Poor Muffin.
Anyhow, Flora and Bloom, you know, they're off doing their own thing. You know, they're chatting about like all of the dudes, and Flora's like, you know, I don't have a thing for Helia. What are you talking about? Even though everyone's clocked it. And Bloom's like, okay, I'll hit on him for you.
Right. Bloom just thinks she's being like a good friend.
Yeah, I love Bloom, but you know, this guy's very antisocial because he's a vampire hunter from Romania, and he's just you know, he doesn't have time for the romance. And Flora to his face is like, wow, you know, all Mitzi's friends are so antisocial, and he doesn't even disagree.
Doesn't even disagree. Doesn't even defend himself. Like, is less than 2 feet from this man. And, like, this is him. Like,
is everyone at this party like hard of hearing? What's happening?
Like, like the walls soundproof. Like, what is going on? Like, very, very deadening room. Oh, deadening. Anyway,
the deadening. But you know what?
Sound deadening.
It gave us Savage Flora, and I love Savage Flora.
Savage Flora is best Flora, honestly, and she occurs more often in the earlier seasons, per usual.
Shocking.
Shocking, I know. But it's very funny in the 4Kids dub. I think that it's almost better because instead of completely like ruining this man's life by dissing him into his face,
as if he cares,
Flora says to Bloom, "Oh, Bloom, we had to go do that thing," and then Bloom catches on. Yeah, oh yeah, the thing we had to do
with Julie. Yes,
Julie, do the thing. So they're gonna go do the
emerges from one of the portraits.
Just appears, materializes. Which, like, I mean, if we're talking about the Nickelodeon dub, if this was in the Nickelodeon dub, they are by the same company.
Exactly. There you go.
They can't exist in the same universe.
Two properties that Nickelodeon did not want to own.
That they banished to online releases at the end of their lifespan. They
banished them to the Omega Dimension.
Omega Dimension is just Nickelodeon.com.
Oh my god. Gosh. Oh Lord. Anyhow, Mitzi's trying to ruin things as usual. So she has her maid pass out, you know, the drinks, you know, the Screaming Marys, or as we call them in the 4Kids dub, you know, cherry soda. and Bloom's like,
you know, I love cherry soda.
Anyway. I love these jelly-filled donuts. The children cannot know what alcohol or Japanese food is.
No, duh.
No.
Duh.
Absolutely not. So they get the drinks, and then Mitsy walks by and she pulls on like Bloom's wing, just to be rude. And I'm like, first of all, ow, that would hurt. But
Ow, indeed.
the drink spills on Bloom's top, and she's like, "Oh," Mitzi's like, "Oh no, I'm sorry, that's gonna stain permanently." And Bloom's like, "How dare you? I'm gonna fix this immediately with my magic." She uses her magic to get rid of the stain immediately. She calls Mitzi's attention, and she's like, "Oh, don't worry, the stain came right out. You don't want to ruin. You don't want to waste your drinks." And Mitzi's just like, "What the what?"
Yes,
What?
yeah.
Brain
I love
melting. And I'm like, see, I love Petty Bloom. We need more of her.
So outside, we get this glimpse of these like strange 3 eerie girls again that the pixies saw, but now there's 3 of them.
Multiplied.
They've multiplied somehow. Freaking weird. And they're speaking again about like this bone white mask, and like they're saying other things that are absolutely terrifying.
Her face is covered with maggots.
God.
Oh no, crawling with maggots.
I hate it. I hate everything about this.
I love it.
I'm so glad you do. This is truly like in the 4Kids stuff, they changed it to we want our sister. Where's our little sister? Like that in and of itself is like scary, but like no. Cinelume and the original had to like, they said traumatize the children.
They took notes from all the 80s movies that traumatized that generation, and they were like, let's do that.
Yeah, and honestly, like the sisters, like the costumes, like have a eerie resemblance to like Samara from the Ring series. So, right? So like
they do look very J-horror.
Yes, like
I live for it.
Yeah, it's wild. But this scene in particular, like as the camera, like as they get closer to the camera, the one of the faceless sisters does this little
just like, a weird laugh as they walk back into the fog.
Yes, and why was that necessary? What is happening?
I mean, I think in universe it's probably because the person that actually is just like, oh, we're doing such a good job rehearsing for this. But like production wise, I cannot tell you, it's cursed.
Like someone physically had to draw that.
And was probably underpaid while doing so.
Oh my god. Yeah, it was the early 2000s. I mean, hell, they're underpaid now, and it's 20 years later, so like not much has really changed. But needless to say, the 4Kids dub did cut that part out, the little like I hate it. I think that's worse than the covered in maggots part, like that little laugh scene. Nope, not for me, fam.
It's kind of interesting the 4Kids cut them like that laugh, and also them walking back into the fog, because it gives the impression those sisters are approaching the mansion right this moment.
Yes.
And it cuts off. I think it cuts to commercial right as they get near the gate, and I'm like, oh, that's freaky. Oh, that's literally at the doorstep.
That's fun.
Oh,
love that.
I hope we protect. I hope we siege this house.
Yes, jeez. I know. Oh my god. So yeah, so that happens, and then meanwhile inside, Jolly notices and frighteningly asks Musa about like the people outside, and Musa is like, "Oh, calm down, Jolly. Like it's just probably one of Mitzi's boring friends," which, like, in hindsight, yeah, I mean, it was. She's not wrong.
Correct, but at the same time, I'm like, way to not take her fear seriously, Musa. Like,
yes. Why are we gaslighting these pixies?
Literally, though, the gaslight in this episode is frightening.
Like
that's real horror.
That's the scariest part of that one.
The gaslighting.
Just the not believing pixies. What? Why are we not listening?
This episode is very anti-pixie.
It's very sad. Poor Jolly. And Jolly is so fun and like cute. And yeah, she's a bit of a like skepticist, but like, I mean, she sees horrifying futures. Like, so yeah, I think you would be so too.
Neurotic.
Yes.
You would be too.
So, as Musa is talking to Jolly, she appears to be talking to herself because, as we learned in Gangs of Gardinia earlier in the season, Earthlings can't see the pixies except for like young kids and also animals, which is funny. So none of the guests at the party can see the pixies, and it just looks like Musa's talking to herself, which Mitsy finds hilarious because she says that's what happens when you hang out with Bloom for too long. And in the 4Kids dub, she says something about like, I should have known that all of Bloom's friends were freaks or something like that. Which
she flat out says like psycho.
Yeah, like it's rude. It's very rude. But Musa like mentions that she's hungry. They only have like beverages at this party. I've not seen anyone eat anything until this scene.
Yeah, is there no food table?
You're right. Like, what kind of party is this? Not what I would want to be at.
Ugh, disgusting.
So rude. But the doorbell rings and Musa, for some reason, answers it, and a guy dressed as Spider-Man delivers the cakes for the party, and one of male friends approaches, which like you know who he's dressed as.
Oh yeah, yes. we all know.
Yeah. Freddy Krueger. He's got the sharp the sharp fingies and everything.
The puckered scars. It's disgusting. I love it. The way Musa's so nonchalant about
I know, she's just like
go pumpkin off the finger. And I'm like, she's like, so unfazed.
This scene was so interesting because like she eats this like weird like pumpkin pastry thing that she picks off of this guy's sharp finger, and Mitsy makes the like comment of like, oh, it must have been an earwax flavored one, and then Musa like has like a tummy ache because like hot girls have tummy aches. But it's true. But Mitsy walks away calling Musa pathetic, and rude. It's so rude. And like in the 4Kids dub, this scene was completely cut out, which I think is so interesting. And 4Kids is not the only, well, I mean, they're the only ones that like cut the scene out, but apparently in the French dub, this cake was supposed to be filled with chilies instead of being earwax flavored, quote unquote.
Oh god.
Right? So like it was spicy instead of like just gross tasting, which like I don't know which is worse.
Those both sound dreadful.
Right. Yes.
Earwax flavored chili peppers.
Oh, disgusting.
The worst of both worlds.
Yes. Both of these things could be a reference to Bertie Bott's every flavor beans from Harry Potter, which is like in the Harry Potter series, like there's like different types of jelly beans that like some of them could be good, some of them could be terrible. So that could be a reference. That's what a lot of people think that this is a reference to, especially the earwax flavored one, because that is a flavor, I'm pretty sure, in the Bertie Bott's every flavor bean box. But anyway, moving on. Musa is angry at the trick, obviously, because like now she's got a tummy ache and she's got to dance later. So Jolly decides to take matters into her own hands, and she takes the rest of the little pumpkin cakes, makes them spin around really fast, and chases Mitsy with them. And so she's like having the best time like scaring Mitsy out of her wits until like her sister Livy stops her. And this scene was completely removed from 4Kids, and I wonder why, because it's so funny, because like Livy's like, don't you think that was a little much? And Jolly says, oh, you're right, I should have made them bite her.
It's like, period. You should have, though.
Yes, you should have. Like, why didn't you? Like, you should have done it sooner.
Honestly, I think the only reason it was cut is because the thing that kicked everything off was the Spider-Man guy, and I feel like 4Kids was like, if we include that, we are getting the hell suit out of us.
Right,
so
but
no, thank you.
But he is shown later in the party scene, though, in the 4Kids dub, which I think is so wild. They cut out like that scene, but yeah, they didn't edit him out later, which I don't know if that was just a miss on their part, which I kind of feel like it was. Like they probably just didn't notice him in the background, but he's definitely there. Really crazy.
So bizarre. Like
right? Like they take the Batman ears off Batman and then they edit Spider-Man out once. Like, only once. What are we doing? Only one time. Do you want to dig into the history of Silent Villa?
Oh, like, yeah, as a Silent Hill fan, I feel like I'm obligated to. So, Tecna and Digit, they're chilling out on the stairs, having what I assume is pizza. It's triangular and cheesy, so I assume it's the pizza.
But
I don't know
she's
what the
eating
heck
with her
is.
gloves on, first of
Which
all. Like,
is stressing me out.
same. I'm like, girl, that's probably hella greasy. Ooh.
But you know what? Bloom got the stain out of her top. The
Oh,
Tecna
you're
will be
right.
fine. Anyhow,
Magic.
they notice a crack on the wall, and Tecna is really concerned that this building is going to collapse and kill them all.
Valid concerns. Just girly things.
Just girly things. So Digit, she points out that the crack is originating from this spooky picture with three faceless girls, which, you know, Jolly's prophecy mentioned three faceless girls. And Tecna's like, oh, she clocked this. We were wrong to make fun of the pixies. Let's go warn the others because we might die. So she gathers up the Winx and she's like, this is what we found. And Bloom is like, oh, we could be in trouble, like if this is the tricks or like something else. Aisha points out this other ominous picture that, you know, has a crack coming out from it. And Tecna reads the article about it, and who girl? There had been constant renovations being done on this mansion, but for some reason it would keep aging by like 50 years instantaneously, which I feel like that's not supposed to happen. What the heck is happening there?
Doesn't happen.
So the construction crews were like, okay, we're never walking here again. We're never going here again, which fair. So they're all like, this house is haunted. Like, and the Four Kids dub,
most definitely haunted.
Yeah, the Four Kids dub, Tecna's like, the Four Kids dub, it's a little bit different because in there, like the house, like it's not that just it ages. It collapses every time that it's rebuilt, which explains why it feels like it's about to collapse right now. And Tecna's like, it could be a haunting spell, which there are haunting spells. Those exist.
That sounds like some Cloud Tower shit that I do not want to be a part of.
I mean, I don't want to be part of it, but I want to witness it.
It's also funny too, like in the Four Kids dub, they spend so much more time setting up this lore for the three faceless sisters, because Tecna mentions how like when they were going to finally like demolish the place, like the fourth sister like died somehow.
Oh yeah,
in the house.
Well, not that she does. She just disappeared, quote unquote, because we can't say death.
Oh right, because we can't say death.
Because children, not only do people never bleed, people do not die.
People don't die; they just disappear. Duh.
Yeah, they just you know, they vanish into the mist.
Oh yeah. But then suddenly a maid calls after Bloom in like a panic. And she tells her that Mitsy is ill and wants Bloom's help, which like totally normal behavior for Mitsy.
Yeah, and Mitzi's also just throwing a fit, like screaming and just flailing her hands everywhere. And I'm like, is this a telenovela? Is this a soap opera? What's happening? I mean, she's in a giant bed, like looking fabulous as she dramatically cries. I'm like, girl, take an acting class.
Yeah.
Mitsy, she is hysterical. And Bloom's like, what is happening? Why are you doing this? So in fear, Mitsy tells them that she saw the three faceless girls in the mirror. And her friend, you know, like the creepy nurse lady with the eye patch.
Yeah, the Elliot Driver lookalike. Yeah,
the syringe lady. She
syringe lady.
Very calmly, she relays the story of the three evil sisters to the Winx. So the three sisters, they had lived in this mansion over 100 years ago. And there was an article about an incident where their youngest sister, the fourth sister,
this is when
murdered.
Yeah.
When someone tried to demolish the house. They don't say by whom, but you know, the point is she was murdered. To avenge their beloved sister, the three ladies, they sold their souls to some random witches who turned their clothes, quote unquote, to blood. To blood. Yeah. Their clothes became blood. Which, what is that like? What does that mean? Do I want to know?
Right.
Um,
I oh.
it's frightening.
Oh.
So anyway, these sisters, they sold their souls and then they disappeared. No one ever heard from them again. And Digit was like, "Oh, I saw one out in the yard." And Tecna's like, "Why the hell
He's like,
did
"What?"
you not warn us?"
She's like,
What?
"I thought it was just another prank." I was like, "Ma'am,
It's just a prank, bruh.
It's
And I'm like, I mean, you're
wow.
correct, but also, like, what if it
Oh.
was not a prank?
What if it was we were in all grave danger for a moment there, Digit?
Like a literal grave danger. There's a cemetery out back.
Yeah, why is there a cemetery out back? Oh my
For
god.
vibes.
For the vibes. Ah, yes, the vibes. Then Mitsy like tells them that the fourth witch or wow, the fourth sister is returning and that all the mirrors will shatter as one like walks by them. And to this, like Stella makes the like joke of like she must be pretty ugly. Like I love Stella, like just always coping with her dark humor. Like we love it.
I mean, honestly, I feel like I would too, just to stay sane.
Yeah, especially in this situation that they're currently have found themselves in. But Mitzi says that, you know, like something bad will happen to Mitzi specifically for some reason if the fourth witch. Why do I keep calling them witches? They're not witches. It's a sister. It's just a little sister.
Well, is it the title, The Fourth Witch? Like,
Oh, wait. No, I think it's fourth. Is it? We just said this. Oh, it is the fourth witch. That's why. It's
yeah,
four
that's
kids'
why.
fault.
They're
Duh.
sisters and they're witches. They're witch sisters.
Duh. I'm a goth supermodel for the future. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh, the madness. We've arrived. All right.
Anyhow.
So she is like describing like the fourth sister, like that her gaze is petrifying. If you look at her like directly, it's wills impending doom on the person that sees her. And then this Ellie driver looking lady says that her eyes are red like blood and she wears a bone white mask and a dreary dress. And for some reason, the Winx all collectively gasp when she says dreary dress. Like nothing else that this woman said was, you know, like scary except that. Like,
well, they're
oh my
fashionistas, wouldn't you?
You're right. Just classic. Like, oh my god, like a dreary dress. That's preposterous. Like, absolutely not.
Disgusting. Absolutely horrific.
But fearing for her own safety, Mitzi asks Bloom for help, and Bloom, of course, being the main character that she is, agrees to it. And the Winx start walking down the stairs and see that all of the mirrors have been shattered. And the guests also say the same thing that Mitzi did, that like it's the fourth sister, she's coming, and obviously needing to like investigate Scooby and the gang head outside.
Can we talk about how freaky this moment is in the 4Kids dub with the score? And they're like, all of the mirrors have shattered, and they're like, I've heard that like when they're going to exact their revenge, the fourth sister appears in their portrait. And Tecna's like, the portrait's over there.
Yes. And then at that exact time,
everyone gasps when she appears in the portrait. And I'm like,
it's cinematic gold.
I
It's
screamed.
phenomenal.
I was both terrified and elated. I died of laughter.
The portrait's over there.
The camp.
Oh, it's so good. It gives all of these cheesy ass like 80s scary movie vibes. Like it really does. Like they do such a good job.
Thank you, 4Kids dub.
Yes, thank you, 4Kids dub. We'll never stop singing your praises. So outside, the girls are walking around the grounds investigating, obviously, when they pass by some like sensor motion pumpkins that light up, and it like really like freaks them out, which like, yeah, they're like on edge. Like,
and now there's a Silent Hill fog rolling in, so that's not helping either.
Right. And then Stella, of course, Stella, the blonde one, notices that in the fog, it looked like there was a person, a figure. Yes. And damn it, Stella, don't you know the blondes are always the ones to die first? Like, don't go off by yourself over here. What is wrong with you? So
in her defense, maybe Bloom hasn't shown them horror movies yet.
Oh, that's true. Oh, but in the 4Kids dub, in the Cloud Tower episode with Zing, she changes into a witch and she's like double boiling trouble, and one of the Winx says, "Real witches don't talk like that. You've been watching too many of Bloom's Earth DVDs."
Oh, again,
So
4Kids covering their bases.
listen, they be doing that.
They do. Bloom's already shown them Scream.
Right. Yeah. So they've been known. So Stella, what the hell?
Next, you're gonna run upstairs from the killer. Like,
oh my god, and trip up them and then die. Thankfully, in this instance, it was just a little garden rake.
Someone could trip over this.
Yeah. So she drops it. Like rake up because duh. Then literally I gasped because I forgot this was coming. Like I've seen this episode how many times? It's been out for 20 years. It still effing gets me every time. And so literally she drops it and just bam, freaking a sister is there
into existence.
It's terrifying. It's like truly horror film vibes.
The moment Stella put down the potential weapon.
Yeah. Which okay. That literally that they are all walking weapons.
I thought this since I was a child. I'm like, wait a minute. Don't y'all have magic spells to like blast these ghosts into oblivion? How does this work?
Like these girls, it's the same thing in season 3 when they forget that they have wings and can fly. Like they just
forget they have magic.
Right, but like honestly, like Mitsy and her goons are really lucky because the Winx just didn't like convergence spell them right into next year. Like they like
Flora would have strangled them with the vines. Stella and Bloom would have given them 3rd-degree burns.
Dead, all of them. Dead.
They would be so
unalived.
Dead.
Like instantly. Like if they had remembered, if they had remembered they were fairies and they weren't just costumes. it would be over for you bitches. I like to think to like help me like cope with the fact that they forgot that they were literally like very powerful like fairies. I like to think that they were like really cautious about using magic around humans after the last run-in they had with magic and humans in Gardinia. That's what I like to think.
Yeah, that's fair. And Musa did say we can't use our magic on Earth. So I guess maybe, right. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, surely in emergencies, though, if you're about to be murdered by ghosts,
I think that they'd let that slide. Probably.
Just a little bit.
Would you like to lead us into the big reveal?
Oh, yes, because apparently the ghosts are not real. Surprise, surprise. It's actually a freaking prank. Inside the manor, everyone is laughing at the Winx, believing in the supernatural because magic existing is just ridiculous. It turns out the whole thing was just a trick plotted by Mitsy because she has nothing better to do than plot and scheme against Bloom.
She's probably been planning this like since she last saw Bloom. Honestly,
absolutely.
This is probably revenge for Oinkus Interceptus.
Oh my god. It literally is though. Oh my god. Mitsy, you were putting in so much effort here and it's just so sad. Like
she turned her scooter into a pig.
And yeah, Mitsy had it coming though. Like
yeah, it's true. Like I think that everyone's at fault here.
Well, for me specifically, Mitsy's the only guilty party. Bloom, you were totally in your right. That's the only time I'll ever say that.
We got it on tape.
Just play it out of context whenever you need.
Right.
Oh god. Anyhow, Mitsy's plan is only just beginning. She tells everyone to grab a pumpkin because the finale is approaching. So the Winx, forgetting that they have magic, continue backing away slowly for like a place to escape. And apparently, that's a graveyard with a bunch of floating pumpkins.
Because why would it not be?
Why wouldn't it be? Yeah, exactly. The three sisters continue slowly approaching menacingly. The Winx have like literally no strategy for how to deal with them. They just kind of, keep backing away and just hope
they're just like praying for a miracle at this point.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, can you not like fly away or
no
shields? Anything?
No.
Okay. So Mitsy's suiting up as the fourth sister, and she gets into character as she starts walking out. She's like repeating the lines, a bone white mask. Ooh, I'm spooky. Well, specifically in the Four Kids dub, she's like, doing her hyena cackle. And then she's like, oh, wait, no, I'm supposed to be scary. Ooh.
Yeah, I love that. It's so good.
And as she's walking out, what does she do? She steps on the rake that Stella threw on the ground.
Absolutely, because we gotta have that like golden comedic relief even in the Cinelume dub.
So yeah, Mitsy eventually gets there, and one of the sisters is like, the fourth sister is here. And Mitsy, she like, announces herself, and immediately Stella clocks her.
Absolutely.
Because she's like, look at the way she's carrying herself. That's Mitsy. She's so full of herself. Like, come on.
Yes. I love it. I love it in the Cinelume dub that she like catches her by that. Like that. I mean, Stella's got some serious like
Mitsy was very particular as she walked down those stairs. Like she thinks she's all that, but she ain't.
Oh yeah, but in the Four Kids dub, as has been alluded to several times in this episode so far in the Four Kids dub, Stella says, Mitsy, and everyone's like, what? And she's like, her perfume, I could smell it a mile away. She wears way too much fragrance. And then Mitsy's like so pissed, and Stella says, it's a huge faux pas. You should really thank me for telling you.
And Mitsy's like, Papa, you loser. And I'm like, great comeback, girl.
You get him, Mitsy.
Said no one. The jig is up. The sisters unmask themselves, and so does Mitsy. And Mitsy just wants them to admit, that they were scared out of their wits. They were, they were a little bit, but it didn't really go Mitsy's way. So the Winx are not amused in the slightest. Nope. Mitsy just keeps on laughing at her own joke, though. Then one of the sisters, a fifth sister, if you will, appears behind Mitsy, and she's floating in the sky, so it ain't a human. Like, and Stella is completely unfazed. She's just amused that Mitsy's about to be slapped by karma again. She's like, sweetie, she's right behind you. Everyone runs for their lives. Mitsy turns around. The sister gives this weird demon shriek, and Mitsy just collapses. But the Winx are like, oh wait, is this actually a ghost? Are we gonna actually have to fight a ghost? No, it's actually the Pixies. The Pixies wanted to prove everyone wrong.
Absolutely, which is terrifying to think about because the humans can't see them. So like when it, when it's the big reveal, like it's the Pixies, only the Winx are laughing. Oh, like lunatics.
Everyone else would have just seen the sheet just fall out of the air.
Yep. And that's what makes this even funnier.
It's an inside joke. You wouldn't get it if you were an NMB, a non-magical being.
Yeah, exactly. You just wouldn't get it.
So good.
But the iconic line that the Pixies deliver in the Four Kids dub here is, oh my god, like you thought Mitsy was like done for. She was done for after this, dead and buried. She put her in the ground.
We're in a cemetery,
so fitting. So we're in the cemetery. The big reveal of the Pixies happen. The Pixies are all laughing, and they say, even though planet Earth isn't magical, they do have witches. They just call them Mitsies.
That's not a period. That's not a period. Wrap it up. It's
pack perfect. It up. It's perfect. We perfect
as a civilization. Nothing will overcome this.
Nothing else matters except for this right now. This is so good.
I love it so much.
It's even better when all in season 1 and even in season 3 that they substitute bitch with the word witch.
Yes,
like
or
it's
like
even
biatch.
better when you have that. Yes, biatch, don't start your witching. Like it's even better once we already have that like context. Like it's
It makes it
just
so much better.
it's so good. But back at the party, the Winx open up the dance floor and encourage everyone to start dancing because haha, it was just a joke, everybody. Like we're all friends now. Look at our cute outfits. Aren't we cute?
You all tried to traumatize us, so let's all dance.
Let's all dance it out.
The early 2000s. You have to end your thing with a dance party.
Of course. Of course. And of course, Mitsy remains in a bad mood for the rest of the evening. And the Winx dance and have a great time. That weird doctor guy cuts in on a dance with Aisha for some reason. That's weird.
Which call the police.
Which please alert the authorities.
Oh god.
And
Darth Vader's trying to tempt Mitsy to the dark side, and I'm like, girl, don't.
Oh yeah. I forget about that because in the 4Kids dub he says they're so awesome instead of like everybody has a dark side. I don't like that. That was weird, Cinelume. That was a little weird. Also a little weird is that they decide to end this whole happy scene with a exterior shot of the mansion and a scarecrow person popping up into frame, laughing maniacally at the camera, and then fades black. Excuse me?
What was that? Who was that?
That was the first time we'd ever seen that character this whole episode.
Yeah,
hello.
Like, is that supposed to be like an actual like demon monster thing on the premises?
That's what I like to imagine. That's my headcanon.
Okay.
Because who the hell? Because who is that?
I don't know. I'm just like, wait, what if he's a monster? Why didn't he do anything? Was he just here for the drama and that's it?
Yes, just like with popcorn sitting on the sideline, just like could not get enough.
And then at the end, his laughter was his way of saying 5 stars.
5 stars, would see again.
You see a Yelp review by like Scarecrow Man 19. You're like, who the hell is that?
Yes. Meanwhile, in the 4Kids dub, all we get for an ending is the pixies playing with the jack-o'-lanterns and like they're like bouncing on them, and then one of them breaks. I really hope it wasn't Little Muffin.
The death of Muffin.
The death of that renames the whole episode.
They did foretell doom for Muffin.
Oh no. Oh no. Not Muffin. Little Muffin.
We thought this was the lighthearted ending. This is actually the darkest timeline.
This is the darkest timeline.
Can we go back to the Scarecrow?
Yeah, let's live there.
Which, I mean, I guess this is a Halloween episode, so it does track, but at the same time, why?
Yeah, I don't know for why. Other than it's just Winx.
Yeah, there you go. It's just Winx. That's all you need to know. And
that is the Hallowinx episode of the Winx Club season 2, episode 16. We've got a little trivia. So we talked about some of these Easter eggs. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is something that I didn't mention in the rewatch. The scene of them walking in downtown Gardinia, and Lockette's like, is that a costume? And it's a kid dressed as Kenny from South Park.
Oh yeah, the freaky little man.
Yeah, the freaky little man. And the one that they booty bump in the pumpkin cookie. That one. It was weird because Lockette says, is that one a costume? In the Cinelume, and then the kid says, and this was cut out. The scene was cut out in the 4Kids dub. He says, "Hey, I'm the real one."
Which what?
I don't understand that. If someone on the internet hears this and can explain it to us, I've never understood
what does
he
mean. He's the real Kenny. Like, what does that? What?
He goes, "Hey, I'm the real." Like, what?
And also, like,
what?
He's speaking like he's responding to someone, but like he couldn't see Lockette.
They can't see him
unless he's just that weird.
Ooh,
it could be. I don't know.
Ooh, we've got a mobile suit Gundam guy in the form of Char Aznamble.
I have no clue.
Yeah, I don't know either. All I recognize is Gundam. I know what that is. But yeah, so like another Japanese property. The girl dressed as like the blue thing. A lot of people think it's Vapion from Pokemon.
Oh, like one of the
Yep.
the Eevee evolutions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh my God, I can see it. It's clicking into
Right?
place.
It's very cute. I love it. I
Oh my
love
God,
that.
nerds made this. Nerds made this.
Growing up is just realizing that kids television is made by adult nerds.
Oh my God, this is the cycle.
That's a lot of things, a lot of Easter eggs to stuff
So
into
many.
one.
They were the boldness. I'm like, because I don't know exactly how copyright law would work with
Right.
this, but I'm like,
Like, is it
y'all needed
parody? Is it
some bravery.
what is the kicker for me is this is the same company that now will report their own fans for copyright. They had the audacity to include Marvel's Spider-Man.
But they'll copyright the hell out of us.
But they're gonna flag us for mentioning a like officially like leaked like image of their unreleased show that they had at trade shows.
Girl, the
Okay.
way I felt, I feel so seen by your comment because I'm still bitter. I'm like, I was so excited for this reboot. I was doing promotion for y'all, and now you're just doing that. Forget it. I take back everything nice I said.
What things?
Oh my God.
I'm kidding. But yeah, well, I'm not. But you know.
Exactly.
You know. So more trivia. This is the first time that the television, like the animated series, ever celebrated a holiday. Like a real holiday. Like obviously we had the Day of the Rose in season 1. But yeah, this is the first time that they celebrated a holiday. The second being Christmas, obviously, in the episode, the Christmas, a Magic's Christmas that we don't talk about.
No, there's only one holiday episode. There's only one.
This is that one. And then this is wild. I didn't even think about this until this episode. This is the first time that Flora and Tecna have ever visited Earth.
Oh my God, what the hell?
What?
It took this long?
It took this. Aisha went to Earth before they did.
Oh, right.
The new girl.
Because they were all playing hooky. And then Flora was just like, should I give this letter to Helia or should I not? And Tecna was yelling at Timmy for like, I don't like computers. But he's like, but you do though. And she's like, no, though. But I want you to like
treat me like a human. Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow.
Huh. Yes. Yeah. That's how I felt.
Tecna must hate this place with how primitive the technology is.
Ooh, honestly, yeah. Like the way that she roasts Bloom's phone and the first time she ever meets the poor girl. This was probably a nightmare like scenario for her.
She saw the car with all those heavy diesel fumes that Mitsy was driving, and she was just like, barbarians.
Yes. Barbarians. She said, never again for me. Which like do they ever come back to Earth?
Outside of season 4, I don't think
outside of season, I think that season 4 was the next time they were all collectively on Earth. Oh no, that's wrong. Lost Kingdom.
Oh no, because we also have to acknowledge the fact that everything past season 4 over relies on Earth. Which, oof.
But of course, it can't be a Winx Forever podcast rewatch without naming our Winx Forever moment, which is us deciding what is the most Winx-tastic moment for this episode. Thomas, what would you say is your Winx Forever moment?
Oh, it has to be the, Earth has witches too, and they just call them Mitzies. It has to be that. Nothing else compares.
Oh, man. Okay. I agree, which is why instead of saying also same, because yes, it's just it's too good. Like
it's perfection.
Great pick. Cannot express that enough. So I will pick a different one. It's got to be the pumpkin boogie. Like,
oh yes.
It was only said in the 4Kids dub, let's do the pumpkin boogie, and then they all dance, and it's so cute. The little like gif of them dancing. When I asked people what their favorite part of Hallowinx was, Lisa Fevrel, the YouTuber, commented on, which, like, shout out to Lisa, we love you.
We stan.
Actually gonna fangirl a minute. Every look she ever puts together for any of her videos, like the dedication, the vision, like they're all so iconic. What the hell? I don't know how she does this. She thrifts a lot of it, which is even cooler.
Oh my god.
Right? I love it. Anyway, big fan. Need to have her on the show sometime.
Please do. Oh my god.
Lisa said on Twitter or x.com, whichever you prefer.
Ew.
That ew. Neither. Next. That her favorite part of Hallowinx is that she likes editing different songs to the pumpkin boogie. and then she gave a K-pop example, and it was perfect. I will link that post in the description so that you all can revel in its glory. It's
oh my god.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely amazing. So Lisa, thank you for that.
I never even thought of that. That's genius.
Mm-hmm. It's so good. It's so good. And of course there was a creator, I want to say it was Gardinia, but I can't remember. There's a creator that put it on her watch face on her Apple Watch, and when she opened her Apple Watch they would dance. That was very cute.
Oh my god, I love that.
Yeah, there's such creativity with the pumpkin boogie, and we love to see it. The Winx fandom coming through yet again.
once more, because Rainbow refuses to feed us.
Listen, gotta feed yourself sometimes, and
Absolutely.
And honestly, it's better than what they're serving in the cafeteria. I'm gonna be honest.
Did you say the cafeteria?
No, but that's so accurate.
The cafeteria.
My ab muscles are fully engaged. My cheeks have never hurt more. That must mean that we're to the end of our episode together this time. Thomas, remind everyone where they can find you and your content online.
Yes, you could find me on YouTube at Unicorn of War, and also just my name. I'm also more active on Instagram and Tumblr and Threads with those same names, Unicorn of War. And you can also support me on Patreon, also with the same name.
Yes, yeah, and I will link all of those platforms on the description below. And thank you so much for, I don't know why, but for agreeing to descend into madness with me yet again. I cannot express to you how much fun I have every time even just our like chats on Discord. I live for it.
Oh, thank you.
All of our rants.
Same. And thank you for having me. This is truly a chaotic Halloween delight.
I am so glad. Well, until next time, guys, I hope that you guys have a very fabulous Hallowinx, and we will see you later.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode of the Winx Forever podcast, be sure to follow the show on your favorite streaming platform so that you're notified when new episodes are released. Join in on the conversation when you follow at Winx Forever Podcast on social media. The theme for the Winx Forever podcast is the song She Makes Magic by Big Wild.